Welcome back, super friends. Today we are going to be solving word problems that include volume. So you'll need your math notebook or folder, pencil to write with, and don't forget that super brain of yours. Stay tuned for the video. All right, super friends, we are going to solve volume word problems. So to get started, let's look at our first example. The following figure represents a fish tank Brandon needs to add water to. How many cubic inches of water does Brandon need to add to fill up the fish tank? Okay, so what we'll need to do is find out what's missing, because you can already see that some of it's already filled in. But what we need to do is find out what's the rest of it that needs to be filled in. So the part that we need to find out the amount for is right here. So all of this part. All right, so let's get our left to right length, because we have to find the volume. Let's get our left to right, which is our length. Then we'll find our width, and then we'll find our height. And then we'll go from there. So from left to right, I see this part. That part there is similar to the part that's right here. That's 16 inches. That's here. So thankfully we already have that. So it's 16. Now let's look for our width. The width would be from here to here, which looks the same as here to here, which would be 5 inches. And then lastly, our height. Now the height is where we're going to be a little off, because I see 9 inches here from here to here, and then I see 6 inches from here to here for the height. But we're not looking for that full 9. We're looking for the part that's between the 9 inches and the 6 inches. So what I would have to do is take that 9 and subtract the 6, and that would give us our height that we're dealing with, which is going to be the number that we use to multiply. So let's go ahead and start figuring this out. So at first I have 16 times 5. So I just go over here, break it apart. I get my 16 times 5. Now 10 times 5 is 50. And then I have 6 times 5 is 30. And if I add it together, I get 80. So now I have 80 here. And I'm timesing it still by, what is that going to equal now? That 9 minus 6. That is going to be 3. And then we can go ahead and solve. What is going to be 3 times 0? That's 0. And then what is going to be 3 times 8? That's 24. I put the 24 in front. So that is the volume. Inches. So inches cubed. That's the volume that we need to figure out. Or that's the amount of water that he needs to fill in. So we have the rest of the water filled in. Like if we were just going normally, for if it said how much did he already fill in, then we would do the 16 times the 5 times the 6, because that's what already is filled in. But instead we had to do the 16 times 5 times 3, because we wanted the part that was missing, the part that was not filled in yet. And we got 240 cubic inches. All right, let's go to example number 2. All right, example 2 says Derek needs a box in the shape of a rectangular prism that has a volume between 510 cubic inches and 520 cubic inches. Several choices are shown below. Which of the following size boxes can Derek use? All right, so this just sounds like we're multiplying all of these and seeing which one gives us between 510 and 520. So that's just going to be A, we solve, B, we solve, C, we solve, D, we solve, and then we bubble in which one works for us. So A is 8 times 8 times 8. I know my 8 facts, and I know 8 times 8 is 64. And then I have to multiply by 8 still. So let's get our box going. 60 plus 4 times 8. I know I bring down my 0. And then 6 times 8 is 48, because I know my facts. And then 4 times 8 is 32. And I'm just left to add these together. So I get 480 plus 32. 2, 1, regroup, 5. Ooh, this looks good. It's 512. Okay, I might be able to stop there, but I'm not sure. Let's keep going. I don't want to mess up anything. So let's look at B. B says 9 times 8 times 7. All right. This looks very promising. All right, let's go. 9 times 8 is 72 because I know my facts, and then I'm doing 72 times 7. So let me get my area model going. 2 times 7. Okay, I know that I bring down my 0, and then 7 times 7 is 49, and then I know that 7 times 2 is 14. So let's add that together. 490 plus 14. What do I get? That is going to give me, regroup. Oh man, that won't work for us. So since that won't work, let's go ahead and move on to the next one. All right, next one says C. And that one is 9 times 8 times 9. All right, so again, I just found out before that 9 times 8 is 72, and then I'm still multiplying by 9, and then I just get my area model set up, and let's go from there. Excuse me, bring down that 0, and then 7 times 9 is going to be 63, because I know my facts. That is a 3. And then 9 times 2 is 18. So then that means I'm adding these together. 630 plus 18. I get an 8 right here. That's a 4. And this is going to be a 6. That is way too big. We are looking for the 500s, and this one's already 600. So that won't work. Let's look at D. D says it is 8 times 9 times 8. 8 times 9 times 8. Again, that's 72 times 8. Let's get our little area model going. 70 plus 2 times 8. All right, bring down the 0. I know 8 times 7 is 56. Automatically, I can tell that this is way too big because that number in the box says 560. But we'll continue just to make sure that we aren't incorrect. And then I know that 8 times 2 is 16. So let's add it. 560 plus 16. That's a 6, that's a 7, that's a 5. So that's our number here. That won't work, that's too big. So the only one that worked for us was A, because the number that it gave us was 512. And that's what we wanted. We wanted it between 510 and 520. So this one was just multiplying. All right, let's go to our last example. Alrighty, our last example says, Kendra has a closet with a height of 9 feet and a volume of 567 feet, or cubic feet. Now, which of the following could represent the dimensions of the floor of her closet? All right, so this one sounds like we're going to be working backwards. So the height equals 9, and then the volume equals 567. We need to figure out which of these options is going to give us the width and the length of it. And the way that I do this is I work backwards. So I do volume divided by height, and then whatever that answer is, I have to see which one of these options gives me that answer. So let's go ahead and start. So it's going to be volume divided by height. And that's what we're trying to figure out. What is that answer? Okay, so the volume was 567 divided by 9. Let's get my house going. I could do the house down here. So that's 5, 6, 7 divided by 9. Let's get our 9s facts. All right, so I know 9, 18, 27. 9 times 4 is 36. 9 times 5 is 45. 9 times 6 is 54. 9 times 7 is 63. 9 times 8 is 72. 9 times 9 is 81. 9 times 10 is 90. Then it would be 99. And then that would be 108. Okay. So let's see, what's the biggest number here I can go for? It's that 54. So we would be subtracting 54. But which factor is that? That is our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 factor. So the 6 goes on top of the 6 up here. So, because it would look like that. So now that is going to give me 56 minus 54, which equals 2. And what do I do next? Bring down the next number, which is the 7. Now, I do know that 9 times 3 gives me 27. So I'm going to subtract out my 27. That gives me 0. There's nothing else to do, so I know the answer is 63. So I'm looking for which of these options gives me 63. All right, let's get to work. I know 8 times 8 is 64. I know 10 times 6 is 60. I know 7 times 9 equals 63. And I know that 11 times 6 equals 66. So our answer was C because it gave me 63. Answer I was looking for was 63. That was the easiest way for us to do it. You take what you already have in the problem and you divide it, and then you look for your answer option to give you that answer that you got for your division. So you just multiply. So I basically was doing 7 times 9, 11 times 6, 8 times 8, 6 times 10. And whichever one of these gave me my 63, that's what I wanted. All right, so use these notes to help you with your problems today.